hopefully that's gone. Okay. So you should all just see me now, which is great. So what I'm going to do is introduce our panelists. We have three amazing ladies on today, all local to the Isle of Man. We've got Rhiannon O'Leary from Regality Marketing, who has a phenomenal wealth of experience in this space. We have Kirsty Lawrence from Man Social, again, social media guru and expert. And we have the phenomenal Jade Bolan from Candy Doll, who runs her own very successful business here on the Isle of Man, and has a lot of experience in e-commerce and sells her products globally. So it'd be really nice, really great and interesting to hear her story. So without further ado, hoping that everybody's okay, I am going to bring Rhiannon in to kick this session off. So just bear with me for 2 seconds.
Hello.
That's Ace, Rhiannon. I can hear you and see you.
Okay, brilliant. Let me just share my screen quickly. Lovely to connect with you all today. I hope everyone is enjoying their Monday morning. Right, let me know if you can see my slides. If someone could just send me a quick
we can see the slides.
Perfect, brilliant.
You just need to go into presentation mode, Rhiannon, and then that'll look better for us.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys. So I'm going to cover the first half of this kind of workshop, and I'm going to go into the Facebook and Instagram shop setup and the best practice. So just out of curiosity, is anybody here, like, what do you usually use to sell currently? Like, what kind of, do you guys use Shopify? Do you have a website? What do you guys currently use to sell online? Or are you like looking to get into selling online? If you want to just pop it in the chat, that'd be really, really handy. Website and Quirky, my own website, brilliant. Okay. WooCommerce, cool, thanks guys. All right, so. Okay, so just a little bit about me. My name's Rhiannon O'Leary, and I work predominantly with medium-sized businesses to increase business revenue through digital marketing, but not just the digital marketing and advertising side of it, like how everything works together. So how do we put the packages together in order to make it better for the customer in the long term? How do we create the best long-term sales strategy rather than trying to get the quick wins instantly? So I'm not your traditional creative marketer. I'm a numbers person. I'm not the kind of person that will run TV ads, but I'm the kind of person that's like, okay, how much have we spent? How much have we earned? And how do we tie this all together? How do we make sure we're on the right channels? How do we make sure we're not wasting loads of advertising spend? So I trained initially on the Isle of Man, and then I went over to Malta to work in kind of the periphery of the iGaming world. So I got to learn digital marketing from some of the best people in the field. So the guy that taught me SEO is the current head of SEO at CoinMarketCap, which is a huge crypto brand. The guy that taught me PPC was head at Catena Media. So I really try and find, like, not just how can we be good for the Isle of Man, but how can we be good globally? So I'm personally really fascinated by how people behave and what's the root cause of that, and that transitions really well into the online space. So my mum, when I was growing up, trained in hypnosis and NLP, so I'm fascinated by consumer behavior and what drives that. So social trends works really well, and that's how that all kind of ties together. So sorry, there's a slight delay. Slide. Oh. Yeah, so because I only have half an hour with you guys, and Facebook and Instagram shopping is quite an in-depth topic, I'm going to work off the basis of some assumptions here. So I'm assuming that everyone here today is here for e-commerce, or there is some type of product on your website that you wish to sell, be that holidays, be that rental properties. There is individual products on a website that you want to sell. So I'm going to go off the basis that you already have an existing website in which you sell your products, and you have a basic understanding of Facebook and advertising, or Facebook and Instagram accounts. And then also, from my perspective, when I'm referring to Facebook, I'm referring to Facebook as the group, so that includes Instagram too. So if I say something and it doesn't make quite sense, like if referring to Facebook, I mean Facebook and Instagram. So as Beck said before, feel free to post any questions in the chat as we're going along, and I'll try and cover as many as we possibly can at the end. Okay. So what I'm going to cover today is, what is the goal of Facebook? What is your goal? What is Facebook and Instagram shopping, and how we get you set up on Facebook and Instagram shopping? So what is Facebook's goal? So I'm going to start a bit earlier than probably everyone would expect, because in order to understand what we're going to achieve, I want to understand what is the goal on both sides. So not only what is your goal, but what is Facebook's goal? So if you look at Facebook's mission, it says the company's goal is to give people the power to build communities and get closer together. Amazing. So I don't really buy that. I am going to go off the assumption that Facebook's actual goal is to keep you on the platform, Facebook and Instagram, for as long as possible, so they can keep serving you ads and keep generating revenue. So this is you as the end user, not you as the small business. So as a result of this, we have to think like, okay, so how are they gonna use that, and how can we capitalize on that to sell our products? So in order to understand this, I want to talk you through really quickly what has happened in online advertising recently in order to build up to this change. So recently we've seen the iOS 14 privacy changes on Facebook. So what has happened here is that Apple have turned around and said, this data, so when you go on a website, or if you click on an advert and then you buy that product, that information, so anonymously, would then get sent back to that advertiser to say that you have purchased this product. So that has been your user activity. And what iOS 14 privacy changes happened is that Apple was like, we're going to ask the user if they want to send that information. So now you have to opt in to see that data exchange from the advertiser's side. So obviously, this is a huge issue for Facebook, because if they're selling data and that data is no longer available, it can become a bit of an issue. This will all make sense soon, I promise. And then also in 2022, we're looking at the removal of third-party cookies from Google Chrome. Again, so if you click on an advert, or any behavior on a website would then be tracked and sent back to advertisers, that's then going away. And also the removal of the Facebook pixel by 2022. So this is where we're going. So the changes that are being brought in by Facebook and Instagram shopping are to capitalize on this, which is why I've included this. But that being said, in the meantime, don't use third-party cookies, don't use Facebook Pixel, because they are incredibly important, especially for small businesses. And I would definitely capitalize as much as you can. And I know Kirsty's going to talk a bit about Facebook Pixel later. So knowing this, knowing the changes going on in the advertising space, how can Facebook bypass these data changes and fulfill their goal of keeping you on the platform as long as possible? So this is where we come to Facebook and Instagram shopping, because if you buy a product on Facebook, they don't have to exchange that data between the website and Facebook. They control everything because they control the platform that it's been bought on. Is everyone following? Just checking I haven't lost anyone and we're all good. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, So yeah, so this is where we come to Facebook and Instagram shopping, because then they own all that data and they can keep you on the platform as long as possible so that you can purchase through Facebook and they don't have to sell data. So the reason I'm telling you this is because it's within Facebook's best interest for this to be a success. Their Facebook pixels are rolling out, all these data changes are coming in. They need you to sell through Facebook. And because of that, it's going to be easier. So they're going to push you in algorithms. They're going to make it as successful as they possibly can from their end, which means that you can fully capitalize it on your end. So that's the reason for the kind of big spiel behind what we're doing today. So what does Facebook and Instagram shopping look like? So if you see here, it's basically tappable content. So here you can see vegan leather wristlets. So you're looking through at the pictures and you're like, oh, I like that. You can tap in and you can purchase it from your social media feed rather than funneling that traffic to a website. And as you can see here on the stories, you can see that, so you view the collection, you can see that products are directly tagged into the shopping or into the stories and into the social experience. And then on the end here, you can see, and this is kind of what your shop will look like in the end. Cool. All right, and then, so that was on Instagram. So on Facebook, it's gonna look a little bit like this. So at the moment, I am redoing my bedroom. So everything here is gonna be like dusk centralized because they're one of my favorite brands online. But you see the shopping tab here, that's where your catalog and where your products are gonna go. And just out of curiosity, has anybody used this feature as a consumer? Has anyone purchased something through Facebook shops or Instagram shopping? Have you seen it while you're scrolling through social? Wow. Yeah, it'll be interesting because now you know about it. You'll be like, oh yeah, that's yeah, okay. All right. So yeah, so this is our Facebook shop. Okay. And here, if you click on the shop item, here is where your catalog of products will come up. So why does this benefit you as a small business owner? It's free. It easily integrates with most websites. So the end goal of Facebook is to use the whole shopping experience from your phone. We're not quite at that yet because of changes on Facebook's end. So you can only check out on Facebook if you're based in the US. But whilst we're at this midpoint, it easily integrates with most e-commerce platforms and websites. And if it doesn't integrate, then you can use your Facebook pixel to bring the data in, which I'll explain a bit later on. So it makes it easier for our future customers to come across our products and find it. So there's no sales funnels required. There's no, oh, we have to generate interest in the traffic. We have to drive the traffic to the website. We have to get them to convert. No, it's all done on Facebook and Instagram shopping. And then in true Facebook style, you'll see a picture here of Commerce Manager, and it makes it easier to access the consumer data. And as I've said before, Facebook need this to be a success. With all the data changes, they need it. Yeah, so Rebecca's just said it's only just become available on the Isle of Man. So in the countries where it is available, you can still see the tags from countries. In the countries where it isn't available, you can still see the tags from countries where it is available. So say, for example, if you were to follow a UK brand that have had Facebook and Instagram shopping for a while, you can still use the functionality, you can still tap on the thing, it will just take you to that website. Okay, so there's two parts in setting up your Facebook and Instagram shop. The first thing you need is a catalog, and then the second thing you need is the storefront. So I'm going to talk you through creating the catalog. So here we have Facebook Business Manager, and then if you click in the dots at the corner, you'll come and you can see Catalog Manager. This is also available if you don't know how to get to Business Manager. It's available by just doing facebook.com/commerce manager and then /, and you will reach the same point. So okay, so here we go. You can see I've set up a test shop, Rianne's really cool shop. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go into add catalog. So we need to add our catalog first so that our store has the catalog to pull through. It will all make sense in the end. And okay, so I'll say collect your catalog type. I'm guessing that most people on this call are going to be looking at e-commerce. But also, as I said, there is property, auto, travel, anything where there are definable products on your website that people can purchase. And I'm just going to have a look back because I know people said they were selling through their own website in WooCommerce. So here, when you're uploading your product info, you can do it one of two ways. You can bring in all of the data from your website through the Facebook pixel, which if you click here, it says Regality Paid Advertising. That's my personal pixel account. So that's how you bring the information through. Or the easiest way to do it, and the way I would recommend, is using the partner platform if you have it. So if you're using Shopify, if you're using WooCommerce, you can select it here and then you sign in and it will bring in all your products through to your Facebook shop. Now that is the easiest way to do it. So that is setting up of the catalog. So now we're going to move on to creating the shop. So here we go. Again, we go back to the Commerce Manager page and we're going to click Add Shop with Rianne's really cool shop. Very imaginative. Okay, awesome. So then, as I said, Facebook need to make this a success. So the actual process of how you set up the shop, they have to make it as easy as possible. So here, this is the setup for both Instagram and Facebook. So the checkout method. Now this is the bit that can get people a little bit confused because it's only available to go through the entire checkout process if you're in a US-based business. So if you see here, it says, make sure your business is located in the US and you have a US bank account. So what this will mean is that you can't pay within the Facebook. You can only pay. A couple of questions on Q&A when ready. Okay, I'll come back to the Q&A questions in a minute if that's okay. Okay, so you can only pay on your current website. So what it will do is it will tag the products for you, but then it will take you through to your current website in order to pay. So yeah, checkout isn't available for us yet. It's only available for US businesses. There is also another option which I haven't gone across yet, and it's the checkout with messaging. So for example, maybe if you were a service business, what you can do is you can send it directly to messages, or you did like completely custom products. So maybe you created custom candles or custom artwork. You can do checkout with messaging, and you can send people directly to your WhatsApp or your Messenger business accounts, and then people can start the conversation to sell in that, which might be. So I see there's a question here about selling services. So that is how, that's probably the best way to do that. So when it comes to what is the Facebook pixel, so I know Kirsty is going to go into this later, but basically what it does is it's a little bit of code that's injected into your website, which means that Facebook can see who has been on what page. So who has clicked on your product. and who has put it into their basket, who has purchased, and that's kind of what the Facebook pixel is. But I know Kirsty's going to talk about that in more depth in a little bit. Okay, so we've chose our checkout method. So we've chose our checkout method, and now it's the like, where do you want to sell from? So here is another one of my task pages. So you just select that, and then you click add products. And here is where it's super important that you've already created your catalog. Because here you will select the catalog that you've previously created. So it'll be pre-populated in here. And all you have to do is click here and click the catalog you've just created. And in there will be all of the products that you've just uploaded through the integration. So where you deliver to, so this was a drop down, and you have to type in, so say for example, Isle of Man or United Kingdom, or so all the countries that you deliver to is where you would select in here. And then it'll give you your shop overview, and what will then happen is it will submit your shop for review, and then Facebook will review it to make sure it meets their guidelines. Okay, so when it's set up, what will it look like? So here is a few screenshots of my phone. So as you see, you're scrolling through, and Instagram shopping and Facebook shops looks as simple as this little icon in the corner. So you might not even have realized that you've already been viewing it on your phone. And then when you tap, you can see, oh look, there's the exact product that's in that picture. And then when you tap again, it will take you through to the website for the product. So are there any questions so far based on kind of what we've covered already? Are you able to sell a service? Yes, you are, but they're very specialized services. So this is mainly more for e-commerce. And service is in hourly products, yes, but it's the like open-ended services, no. Specific services, yes, you can. Cool. Awesome. All right, so here are some kind of like frequently asked questions about Facebook shopping. So VAT issues, so this has come up. So the thing with VAT, where we are at the moment, is that it currently goes through your current website. So Facebook shops currently, as it stands, only direct people to the website through tagged products. In the long term, it's going to be rolled out so you can pay through the site. But initially, this is just going to feed in to all of the everything you have currently on your website. So for example, if you use Xero or if you use QuickBooks on your current website, it's just going to add to that same process. It's not going to be anything different selling in Facebook shopping yet. The question that was put to me was more to do with Facebook Marketplace and about the VAT issues on there. It just follows the same precaution as any other business accountancy stuff. So payment integrations. So this is for your actual website. As I said, currently, Facebook do not handle the checkout product yet. So how do you add a product and ensure it links to your website? So there is many ways to do this. I've kind of gone through the most common. So when you put in your pixel data, it will bring through that information for you. And also, if you connect it with Shopify or WooCommerce, it will bring all of that through. So the process I've just taken you through will ensure that all the links are working and all the products are on your thing. So I hope that answered your question, Catherine. It's hard because it's hard to show you without real data, but it will bring in all of that for you. Well, let's look at the website. Classes. I will have to get back to you, Lindsay, on the holiday cottages. I will take a look and let you know, yes, this will work. I know this will work, but the details I will have to double check and get back to you. So how do you tag products? The same way you tag a person in a picture is the same way you tag products. So you'll have two options. You'll have tag people and then tag products, and then you just click tag products and select the product from the catalog, which is why we did import the catalog and then import the shop. How do you monitor your shop metrics? So when you've created the shop, you will have, if you go to Commerce Manager, so the link I told you about before, I'll make sure all these slides get sent through. So facebook.com/Commerce Manager will give you an overview of your site, and you'll be able to see what you've sold. You'll be able to see what products are the most popular, and you'll be able to, you'll be able to see all of the live data from your shop. And what is the benefit of tagging products? So when it comes on to doing things like creating adverts and creating Facebook ads, what you can do is, instead of using your Facebook pixel data, which is kind of from your website, you can directly use the Facebook shopping data. So you can see like, oh, I can target the people who have already viewed this product, or I can target people who have gone 90% of the way in the buyer's journey but haven't checked out. So there we go. That's how you can, the benefits of Facebook shopping. So that's all about kind of the setup and how, like, what is Facebook shopping? Why has it been created, and the setup? Are there any more questions anybody has around this topic? As I said, it's quite an in-depth thing, and please let me know if I haven't made anything clear. Sorry, let me just find the chat. Oh, do your Facebook, as I sell different things all the time. Yes, your Facebook products do have to correlate with your website, but Methy, how do you sell your products like on your website? Because if you use a Shopify or if you use a WooCommerce, it can all kind of, it will all pull through automatically, so you don't have to worry about changing things if you're changing it on that end. PayPal. Okay. So do you mean PayPal integrates with your website? Okay, awesome. Okay, so Dawn, can it just be set up for click and collect or payment on delivery? As of yet, no, because this is a mix, or this is a replacement for online shopping. So currently, no, but eventually, yes. Can you upload your products on Instagram and sell them from there if you don't have a website? Yes, kind of. Everything can be done, kind of. If you want, Linda, I will send you information on how to do that afterwards. Okay, cool. So, all right. So thank you very much. That's all I have for you today. So we've gone through the why it's about, how you can set it up, and and what the kind of goals are on both ends. Sorry, let me just go back to the chat. I would like to sell on Insta. Okay, Methy, if I could get back to you on that question, that would be perfect, because it's not really a straightforward answer. Okay, awesome. So if you want to find me, you can connect with me on Instagram at Regality Advertising, or email me. I say find me at the office, but at the moment I'm very rarely there. But thank you all for listening to me. If there's any more questions, send them through to me now, or I think Bex can send them through to me later. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rianne. That's so interesting. Gosh, I think we could probably have about another 5 hours, couldn't we?
Yes. I hope I haven't overwhelmed everybody.
No, not at all. You know, the idea is that this is some food for thought to start getting people thinking about how they can do this, and then hopefully get them inspired to look into it a bit more. But you'll still be there in the background, Rianne. So any more questions that come through, Rianne could even do it in the chat while Kirsty's speaking as well. So we'll carry on.
Hi.
Yeah, welcome, Kirsty. Rianne, if you could stop sharing, that's great, thank you. And we'll just do a little bit of jiggery pokery while Kirsty.
Oh, hello, is it me now?
It is you now, Kirsty, you are on.
Okay, thanks. Right, I'll just share my screen. Let me see. Okay. Present. Okay, thanks Bex and Chamber and the Department for Enterprise for asking me along. Yes, as Rihanna said, this is a huge topic, and as with everything digital, there's like more than many ways to skin a cat. Sorry, that's a horrible phrase, but you know what I mean. And so in terms of e-com and using Facebook and Instagram, because we've not had the shop here until very recently, and I've been using Facebook ads and Instagram ads and just basic organic social to help people with their e-com businesses. So I'm just going to take you through a few things that in that area, and you'll sort of see towards the end one of my slides that kind of brings it all together. So it's almost like you can see how it comes back to the shop. And actually the shop kind of piece runs alongside the piece that I'm going to tell you about. So it can all link in together to sort of supercharge your e-com presence. So again, yeah, a lot to this, but hopefully you'll find something of use within here. So I haven't done a little slide about me actually, but yeah, I got into social about 4 years ago now. I did a really in-depth course with a company called Digital Mums. It was a 6-month experiential course. So I really learned my stuff and it was brilliant. And then I realized that paid advertising was actually the way that you supercharge it all. So I then did another 6-month course in just Facebook and Instagram advertising. So that's my background. And yeah, here we go. So I always talk about this, sorry, but if you're going to hook up a credit card or anything to Facebook, in fact, anyway, even if you're not hooking up your credit card, you should absolutely secure your account. So I do believe you're going to get these slides afterwards. So I'll leave you to go and do this, but do make sure that your 2-factor authentication is set up for Facebook and for Instagram, and anybody that you get to help with your business. So anybody that you bring in to help you on your accounts, they need to ensure that they have also got 2-factor authentication in place, because they're all little holes for the hackers to get in. So please make sure you do that. And just to echo what Rianne said, so funny, she's very skeptical of Facebook, and yes, as we should all be, because actually all they're selling is our data, right? That's exactly it. But it is important to remember what their mission is, because it does play out. So don't forget that Facebook was built for people. It wasn't built for businesses. It was built for personal connections. And so you've got to somehow tap into that to make the most out of Facebook. So if you can grow community and help people stay connected and create new connections, then you're absolutely going to get the most out of Facebook. And equally, Instagram, its core values again are community first, inspire creativity, and simplicity matters. And so, as Rianne said, you know, if we can eventually get this whole process of buying direct on platform, if we can get that, you can see how much simpler life becomes in terms of selling your stuff online. So always bear in mind Instagram and Facebook's core values whenever you're doing anything, in order to make the most out of the platform, because you want to do as much as you can organically without paying, but you do need to pay if you really want to explode. So this is how consumers find new accounts to like and follow. So if you're trying to get more discovered, your e-com, what you're selling more discovered, then, sorry, that picture's a bit faded, isn't it? Hopefully it's clear when you see it on the slides when you get sent them. But basically, people find new shops and new e-com businesses and new products through suggestions in their feed, through brands that they admire or follow because they're sort of related. And all of these other ways, I'm not going to read them out, but you can see like hashtags is really important. 25% of people are finding new brands off of hashtags. So you can see how important it is to be social, to be interacting with brands that are similar to your brand so that you can be found online. And that doesn't have to just be in the Isle of Man. You can open this up and you know, and you can, that's the amazing thing with social. You can find your niche, whatever it is, go and find people who have similar interests and likes and go and get social with them through your social media platforms, and you can get discovered. So that's really key to remember. So think social, know, like, and trust is what you're trying to build. You want people to know you, then you want you to like you, then you want them to trust you. Interestingly, I'll come to some stats in a minute, actually, I think I do. But quite often I'll see ads online, and at the moment I'm seeing more and more and more. And they're selling me like some kind of something on e-com, quite a lot of like cheap clothing. The clothes, the pictures look amazing. And I'm like, oh, that looks so nice. And then I'll just go and do a little bit of due diligence. I'll maybe pop off to Google and Google them, or I might go over to their Facebook page and see how active their Facebook page is. And so if you go over to their Facebook page and it doesn't look very active, you can't really see them building a community and people replying and responding, then I'm not really going to trust that brand very much. So even if I think the product looks really nice, I'm probably not going to buy it. And so that's when it's important to really just concentrate on building community. You're selling to people, so serve that community with, yes, sell them your products, tell them about your products, but also tell them how you've made them. Also talk about other products that are similar, that not your competitors, but that they'll also like. And so you're giving them some kind of value and just building a really lovely place for people to hang out, which I think we'll obviously hear a lot more from Jade, but that's absolutely what she's done. You know, that's how she's been so successful. It's really, really powerful. So you've got to get people to trust you. So the power of social networking. My picture's not come up. There's a little photo there. It's not come up. Sorry, I don't know why. So be social. So engage with organic influencers. So these aren't influencers that you pay. Influencer marketing is a completely other separate. It's a separate piece of type of marketing, which is really, really powerful, but you can do it organically by just engaging on the platforms, on the channels of some of these organic influencers. And they can just be people who have got maybe 1,000 followers or 5,000 followers. But if they've got a really engaged community, then you can get involved in that and you can start to comment and you can add value, not selling, but adding value so that people think, oh, who's this person? And we'll come back and they'll go back to their site. They'll see a comment, they'll click on you and they'll come back and visit your profile, and that's how you sort of grow your community organically. So don't just, it's called social media for a reason. You get more power out of it and more bang for your buck and time spent if you are being social on the platforms. When you're posting as well, make sure you do a little bit of engaging just before you post. So whether you're posting a product post with your new shop that you've got attached, or whether you're posting something, you know, about your process or about the team or whatever, and do a little bit of engagement. I'm talking Instagram specifically here. Do a little bit of engagement before you post, just to let people know that you're online, and that will bring more people back to your profile. I haven't said that here, but also make sure you're using hashtags. I think I say that in the next slide, actually. Maybe I do. So share the love. So build relationships with companies who share similar values. So maybe they're not selling the same thing as you, because you don't want to, you know, put up your competitors, do you? But find people who sell similar things in a similar niche to people who've got a similar audience and similar values, and just engage with and share their content occasionally as well. And that just helps you, again, sort of get, leverage their audience. So that's quite a nice thing to do. So do think social. It is really powerful. Don't just be sell, sell, sell. You can encourage user-generated content. So if people are buying your products, encourage them to share photos of them using or wearing your product, or going through your experience, whatever it is you're selling. And by saying, if you tag us, we'll feature you on our page, whether that's on stories or on the Instagram grid or on Facebook. You know, you can share the post on Facebook too. Obviously, if they share images, you can just get those images off. So really encourage that, create a culture of sharing because because then your purchasers, your customers, they are doing your marketing for you. Word of mouth marketing is so powerful. If people are giving you reviews, whether it's on Facebook or Google or Trustpilot or wherever it is, I know Lindsay's here, so TripAdvisor as well, you know, wherever it is, then make sure that you are taking those reviews. You can make them into a simple Canva post and share that review. You can pull those reviews into your ads. It's really, really great strategy. So don't just let people leave their reviews and that's it. Make sure you're taking them and using them. It's really powerful. Think community first, provide value regularly in addition to your sales posts. Share your values, share your story. So again, not just selling stuff, make sure you're selling too in between. Use hashtags. I shared a post last week. I'm not very active on Instagram, but hashtags on Facebook have become a bit more popular recently. Sorry, I'm just going to my Instagram page now as I speak. You would use 3 hashtags, up to 3 hashtags on Facebook. But on Instagram, you can use up to 30 on your posts and up to 10 on your stories. I shared a post last week. If you go into your posts on Instagram and click View Insights, you can scroll down on that and you can see I reached, with one post last week that I hardly ever post, I reached 580 people, and 323 of those people were from hashtags. So I really, obviously, for some reason, nailed my hashtags that day. And it just came up in lots of hashtag feeds. So it is really powerful to do that. So do your hashtag research. You can use something like Hashtagify, or even in Instagram itself, it suggests you loads of different hashtags. Don't always just use the big ones because you'll get lost. So use a mixture, the ones that have only been used maybe 1,000 times, some that have been used 10,000 times, some that have been 100, and then maybe throw in a couple of million uses as well. But really mix up those hashtags because it's a very powerful way to get discovered. And this is really important. Have excellent customer service processes in place, particularly if you're going to go and scale and get more, you know, use ads to grow your business. You're going to get much more, you're going to get more comments. So on that's community management on your posts. You're also going to get more inboxes. So you've got to have some good responses ready. I'll go into that a little bit in detail in a wee while if I get time, because I realize I know we've not got much time. So I might have to skip some bits. But yeah, there's some very simple strategies for your organic social. These are some great examples of accounts that are using that do it really nicely. And you can go and, so if you go into Anthropology on Instagram as well, you'll see the shopping tags that Rianne was just talking about. They've got their shopping set up as well. Where the Stars is a really small brand, but she really serves her community. She is incredible. She does like little fashion shows of old clothes she finds in a wardrobe, and I just quite often go on to have a little look to see what she's saying. But then she sells these lovely jumpers alongside it. So she's a really great example of how she's built a community of people who go back every week to see what she's talking about, and they'll buy her products too. Lego do it really well as well. So go and check those out. Reviews are so important when you're doing your e-com. You don't want to be, you know, investing all your time in getting your shop set up, getting your website set up, spending money on ads. And then if you're not requesting reviews to sort of make, you know, you record the impact that you've made and then share that impact, then that's not going to help you. So make sure you're doing that. This is how important they are. Some stats for you. I'll let you read while I have a sip of water. So this is what I say, you know, when like Wish is one of them, isn't it? Wish products keep coming up in my feed. Oh my gosh, they drive me nuts. And I nearly bought some. And then I went to have a look, and the customer service and the Trustpilot reviews are just dreadful. So I was like, nope, not buying. So it's really important. It's also important to respond to public reviews, say thank you, and view poor reviews as an opportunity. Some people get really upset when people say things online about their products, but actually see that as an opportunity to convert people, and also to, you know, consider it as feedback. So don't be scared to allow people to come and comment and to send you reviews. Just think of that as a gift in order to improve your business for the future. So paid social media strategy. So this is where we start to talk about the pixel. So once you've got your organic all set up and you know what works and what doesn't work, this is a good time to invest in in paid social if you want to grow fast. So you set up your pixel, which is a piece of code, as Rianne said, is created in Facebook's Business Manager. And you take that piece of code and you put it onto your website. Now, if you're with WooCommerce or Shopify, Squarespace, some of these sort of bigger companies, they have a great integration. You just take the pixel code, you put it onto your site, and it automatically sets up these things called standard events, which effectively track the customer journey. So you'll have a standard event for add to cart, you'll have a standard event for purchase, you'll have a standard event for lead, which is when people have input their email address because they've said that they're happy for you to email market to them. So you've got all of these different events. Initiate checkout, that's another one. And you can actually then create different audiences of these specific people. So if you're only getting small numbers to your website, then it's going to take you a lot more time to do it. But if you're a bigger company and you've got quite a few a good amount of hits, like hundreds or so a week, then you are going to be able to make great audiences of the people who have taken these different actions on their customer journey. So you can create an audience of people who have added to cart, an audience of people who have purchased, and then you can create lookalike audiences of them, which are more powerful because Facebook has 261 pieces of information about us all. And so it can look at the information about the purchaser and it can say, right, I'm going to find more people just like that. And then we can send ads to those people. And it's a very powerful thing to be able to do. So I'll come back to that a little bit in a minute. You can use different objectives to drive brand awareness most suitably for your business. So if you're a new business, or if you're just new, like you've got quite a small following, you want to grow it, you perhaps initially want to just be getting some engagement on your post, so you can run a post engagement campaign. Or you might have an amazing video that you want people to watch, so you can optimize your ads for video views. So Facebook will find the people in your audience who are most likely to watch a video. Or you can optimize for people who are most likely to buy. You can optimize for purchase. As Rianne said, there's big changes coming into Google, which are going to affect the way the pixel works in a year or so. There are things being put in place, so I'm not going to go into that today, but I think it is still very worthwhile you trying to tap in if you want to grow fast, to tap into this, even though it is going to be phased out in the future. So because they'll come up with a workaround, well, fingers crossed. There is something that talks directly to Facebook's server called the CAPI, which is the Conversion API. It's very techy. I don't really have anything much to do with it other than I send a code to my developers and say, can you sort that out, please? So I'm not going to talk about it, but there are workarounds being developed. So a couple of strategies you can test. If you've got a low ticket e-com product, you could test just going straight for conversion ads, because that is going to put an ad out to the audience that you specify, which is going to find the people in that audience who are most likely to buy something online. So you're optimizing for purchase. So you could test that to see how it went. You can also retarget people that add to your cart. So remember I said you can create audiences of people who take different actions on a website. So you can create an audience of people who've added to the cart, and then you can retarget them. And you can retarget them with these dynamic product ads, which are effectively like a carousel ad. I don't know if you've seen them online, when you can scroll through a few different like pictures in a sort of carousel. And what it does, once you're, it looks at your catalog that Rianne was talking about before, and it kind of brings up, it talks to the catalog and it brings up pictures of the products in those catalogs that are most likely to resonate with the person, with whatever it is they put in the cart. Does that make sense? So it's offering them other products that you have on your website as well. So it's quite clever. Another thing you want to do, you want to do this through email marketing and through ads if you've got budget, and that is retarget past purchases. It's really lucrative. They've already bought from you once. So if you've got a product that you sell a lot of, they're going to want to buy from you again. So don't forget to retarget purchases. So this is just a bit of a summary of the different audiences I was just talking about. You've got your warm audiences that you can retarget. So you can upload an email list. It won't match all of the people on your email list because it's going to match to the email address that people signed up to Facebook with, which if you're like me, it was 17 years ago. And it's an old email address, but it does get you some matches. You can create audiences of your website visitors. And within that, the people that took different actions on the website. So you can create an audience of a specific page on your website, or people who purchased, or people who added to cart. You can create audiences of people who have engaged with your Facebook or Instagram channels, people who have watched your videos, and then you can create lookalike audiences of any of these custom audiences. So you can see, again, because Facebook has so much data on us, you can be retargeted. You can end up in a lookalike audience. So that's sometimes annoying if you've been looking at mattresses and you bought a mattress online and then you suddenly get retargeted with mattress ads. Well, like, well, I bought it now. It's quite annoying. You may have noticed if you've got an iPhone recently that you were asked if you want to turn tracking off for Facebook. I chose to turn it on. I know because I know so much about it, but actually, and I think a lot of people are like, no, I don't want Facebook having so much data about me. But actually, what it will do is if you turn that tracking off, you'll just get served a load of ads that aren't maybe that interesting to you. But then some people find that the ads they're getting served aren't interesting anyway. So who knows? But that will impact Facebook's success in the short term for sure, because a lot of people use iPhones. So we're watching that situation evolve with interest. And then cold audiences, they're really powerful too. If you've got like a product that might, I don't know, apply to Yummy Mummies, then you can create an audience of people who like Jojo Mama Bebe, you know, the shop, or Bowden, for example. So you can create audiences of people who like particular shops and who have particular interests, so like skiing or mountain biking or whatever. You can do that as well. So it's really powerful. Oh no, this is a picture of I don't know why it's not working. I know what this is. This is a picture of all the different objectives you can use. So I've talked about them a little bit when I'm talking about video views, engagement, conversions for purchase. So it's all of those. It's just a picture of inside of Ads Manager. It's not loading. I'm not sure why. So you're not missing anything major there, and I'll make sure that pops up when you get sent the slides later. These are different type of ads you can use. So you can use carousel ads, single image, single video. You can use a slideshow, collection ad, which is like a mini website in itself that opens up on your phone. And if you've got your shop enabled, as Rianne was just talking about, you can have people tap it'll have the taggable products in there that people can just click on there and then go straight to your checkout. So they're really clever as well. So loads of different options. And Facebook has its very own bunch of case studies, which you can go and have a read to inspire you. So I highly recommend you go and check them out. Here's a couple of e-com businesses, a succulent sort of, I think it's a subscription box. They're quite popular now. And a lady who does lots of sewing. So go and check those out from those, what are they called? URLs. And you can have a read of how very, very small one-man band businesses used Facebook to grow their business. So yeah, it's really inspiring. Go and check those out. Now, this is sort of the flow of what you need to do. So this kind of knocks into what Rianne was talking about again. Remember I said that they kind of run alongside each other. So you'll create your pixel, you'll associate your pixel with your ad account. So that's important. This is all happens inside Business Manager, Facebook Business Manager, which is the house in which all of your Facebook and Instagram assets sit. And that includes, you can bring people in, users in to have access to your different products. So you associate your pixel with your ad account, you add your pixel to your site, you check that the standard events are set up. So that's the purchase event is in the right place, the add to cart event is in the right place. This is quite techy, but I just want you to understand all that is behind it. So that you have a bit of knowledge before you go in into this. Then you create your Facebook catalog, which Rianne took you through, populate that using a data feed from your website. So that's from your WooCommerce or your Shopify. Actually, I do say those two a lot. Those two are definitely the best. Shopify is so it integrates beautifully with Facebook ads. You pair your catalog with your pixel, so they're all talking to each other basically, but you have to make those bits happen in the Business Manager. Check your setup. So like do a test run. Make sure you do the purchase, and then you can see it all happen. You can see all the events getting the green light to show that they've been triggered. And then you can set up your Facebook and Instagram shop, which Rianne's taken you through as well. And that talks, you know, that can all link up to that. And it's another way to sell. So you can see it's kind of just a yeah, there's a lot to it, but it's just another way for you to sell if you don't want to just always send people straight to your website. So hopefully that helps clear that bit up. And before you invest in ads, I would definitely make sure you've done this stuff. So make it easy for people to buy from you, review your customer journey, and remove any snags. And snags can include, I know it's really tricky over in the Isle of Man because we're really limited in terms of payment gateways. So PayPal can be a bit troublesome for some people. So if you're in that situation that PayPal is the only thing you've got, then make sure you can maybe you could put a little note beside it to say how, you know, they can maybe use check out as a guest on PayPal to just make it a bit easier for them. I'm investigating something called Braintree for my own. I sell online courses. And so I'm going to look at Braintree to see that. I think that works in a similar way to a great tool called Stripe, which we don't have access to over here. I know that some people can get a bit creative with maybe tapping into using Stripe. It's not obviously recommended, but you might want to get creative there. So that is the issue here, but PayPal does work. I'm working with an e-com person over here at the moment who's getting hundreds of sales in the last week, and it's all come through PayPal. So it does work, but just maybe be mindful of how you can make that journey a bit easier for them. And I'm sure there's a wealth of knowledge already on Ireland with people who've already got businesses set up that you could maybe tap into, have chats with people who have done it before you and see what they did. And because they're going to be the people who are going to be able to help you the most with that. But it isn't smooth over here, unfortunately. Your page load speed is very important. People won't wait for your page to load. Ensure your website is converting well at each stage. So really know your numbers. It's quite usual for 69% of add to carts to bounce off without buying. So how can you improve that? You're always looking to improve all of your stats. Understand the lifetime value of a customer, average order value, so that you understand ROAS, which is return on ad spend, and ROI, so return on investment. Because you can do this yourself, if you can get your head around it all, you can do it yourself. But if you outsource Facebook ads or Instagram ads in any way, you're paying for your ad spend, you're also paying for the management fee for somebody to do the work for you. So just make sure that you understand the limits of what you can spend before you go into it. And also understand that initially you're buying data. So if you've never run ads before, initially you're just getting some data onto your pixel. You're helping Facebook learn who your customers are. So you have to understand it straight away. You might not get results straight away unless you've got a killer product and you've already done the hard work organically. Everything's already ticking along organically. If you've got all that set up and you're in a good place, then if you put ads behind it, it should just explode. And have email marketing in place as well. So if people, maybe add to the cart and then they don't buy, you could then follow up with an email, and then you could also follow up with some value. So like maybe a nice blog once a month or something like that, just to keep people interested as well. And again, Anthropology do that really nicely. So check them out. And if you're going to spend on ads, again, have a community manager in place. So that's somebody who can respond to comments. Am I running out of time, Bex, or am I okay? I've got about 4 more slides, I think.
No, you're absolutely fine, because we're scheduled to run till 11:30, so we've got plenty of time for Jade and any more Q&A at the end.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So as soon as you start to sell stuff online, you're going to get customer service queries. So make sure you're set up to deal with it. So there's loads of little things you can do. Actually, more and more people are hopping onto social media rather than going through websites to contact people. So do be aware of that. The more visible you are with ads, the more you're going to get contacted. That's an interesting stat. 4 out of 5 people use social media to engage with brands now. And engagement is key to gaining trust, so if you can go back to them. And responding to comments is really going to help develop trust as well. So plus the social algorithms love it. So the more engagement you can get on a post, the cheaper your ads will become. And some things you can do is set up automated replies in the messenger settings. Be proactive. So if you think you might get some pushback on some of your products, then just have some stock responses ready to fire out, save them in Trello and a Trello board or something. Collate common responses again and put them in a bank somewhere to just copy and paste so that you're ready for that. I think there's a couple of questions, so I think I've just finished. Oh, this is a really lovely example. I was in touch with Vax last year, and this was their auto response. And it sort of says, okay, if you're talking about this, then it would be useful if you could do this. So it doesn't even need a human to interact. It just sort of takes away a little bit of strain straight away for them. So I thought that was really good. And then they've obviously got some stock response here, and a lovely, no worries, Kirsty, enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks, Jake. I love that they just signed off as a person rather than as thanks Vax, because at the end of the day, people do buy from people. So I just thought that was a lovely example to bring in there. And I think we've got some questions. Let's just see. Oh, brilliant. Oh, Rianne, that's good to know. Thank you. Rianne is saying she highly recommends Braintree too. Also in... How useful is Facebook story? I find viewers off drop after. The Facebook story, I mean, they can be useful. If you can do lovely behind the scenes stuff and you're doing really interesting stuff, then people will come in and they'll look forward to your stories, Angie. So yeah, they can be really good for behind the scenes stuff, I would say. I think that's everything. Yes, it is. On it, just quickly, I thought I had another slide on customer service, but just quickly on there, people just, especially at the moment, people are really vicious on social media. And so even if you're putting out a really sort of lovely, innocuous is that word? But a lovely product, people are just still like, they're just full of, I don't know, vitriol and spite. And they'll just say anything. And it can be a little bit upsetting. You're just like, oh, flipping heck, I'm just trying to sell my stuff. So just, sometimes people just want to feel listened to. So even you just say, thanks so much for your comment, or you can put one of those, like, you know, one of those faces on the emojis. Emojis are great for responding to customer service queries and comments and negative comments, because they kind of just put a bit of humor in, take off the edge of the situation. Just I don't know, answer with empathy, listen to them, say, oh, thanks for your comment, and then explain whatever it is, and somehow shut it down. If they're actually complaining about a product, then I would take it offline. I'd say, do you want to send us your email address, and we'll take this, you know, we'll send you a personal response that way. But yeah, if you're going to get, you should always try and answer comments and just make people feel listened to, because that's really what they're looking for at the moment. And yeah, I'm sure you've all seen how horrible social is at the moment. If you do want to get in touch, I've got a free group, Leveraging Social Media for Business Growth. You can find that on Facebook. Just Google it, search it on Facebook. And there's a couple of questions that you'll get asked when you request to join, and then I'll let you in. I'm on LinkedIn, and you can email me here. That's my website, and that's my number. Thanks so much for listening. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions. I think we're going to do a joint Q&A at the end. And that's it. So hopefully that was useful, and looking forward to hearing Jade's story just now. Oh, there's a question just come in. Please say group name again. It's here at Leveraging Social Media for Business Growth. Just here at the top. That's the group name, Linda. Okay, you're welcome, Betty. Okay, right.
Thanks so much, Kirsty. Awesome, as always. As Kirsty said, Kirsty and Rihanna are still on this workshop. So I'm super excited to bring Jade in to chat to you all now. I love Jade's products, they're so cool. So I'll bring Jade in, and then I'm sure we'll have some time at the end, I can bring all the panelists back and we can have a little Q&A before we let you all go. So just going to do our usual, and Jade hopefully will pop up any second now.
Can you all hear me okay? Because I'm testing a new microphone today, so.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Good. Brilliant. Great. Good morning, and I hope you've all been enjoying it so far. It's been really useful for me as well. I've got like a notebook, I've been taking notes, useful tips for stuff that I maybe hadn't been doing as well as I should have. So shall I start my little PowerPoint presentation? Let's have a look. And let's go. Okay, so hopefully you can all just see my brand name. So just a little intro. So hi, my name is Jade Boylan. I run my online shop, the Candy Doll Club, from my home up in the north of the island. I do this full time from home. I don't have any other job or income source, but I am a member of the Isle of Man Arts Council. I chair the visual art and literature panel for them, and I'm also on the board of Culture Vannin. But both of these are voluntary positions, so I don't get paid for them. So Rebecca invited me along today to tell you a little bit about how I started my business and sort of how it's built up over the years. So we've got like an intro, some info about me. So I had actually been selling my work since I was about 18, while I was still up at the Isle of Man College. But I didn't start my brand, the Candy Doll Club, until 2015, when I actually lost my job. So I was signed off work for depression due to my personal life, not due to my job. And my employer assured me that my job would still be there when I was ready to go back. And I'd moved back in with my parents. And then a month later, I got a notice of termination. So that was good. And after a sort of, I can't really remember much of what happened after that, but I know that I was moping for months. And my psychiatrist knew that I was an artist. And he's like, well, do something, do something with it, make art. So I did, and I started selling it. So hopefully you've all read all the useless likes and dislike facts about me. So at the time, I'd only ever used Etsy to sell stuff. I set up an Etsy shop probably when I was 18, when I was still at college. I'd done a few local craft fairs, and I suppose you get talking to other people at the fairs, and oh yes, make an Etsy shop, sell on Etsy. So I did. And I mostly sold handmade items, paintings, things I'd sewn. I did get some postcards printed, things like that. And this was fine. And this just sort of went along for a few years, and I was never really very serious about it. But then in 2015, when I suddenly didn't have a job, I thought about how I could sort of make more money from it, I suppose, is because that is what we all want when we run a small business. It's fun to make things, but at the end of the day, you have to make a living. So I started looking into like mass-produced items featuring my designs instead of hand making everything. I still love hand making products, but I think the way things are nowadays with sort of shops like Primark, IKEA, Deals, things like that, people expect something for nothing. So if you've spent 4 hours sewing like a teddy, and the materials don't cost a lot, but your time is valuable, and then someone isn't willing to pay, not even like I was always sort of underselling myself with handmade things. So yeah, it can be tricky to find that balance where you're making a profit, but also your customers are going to come back and they want to keep buying from you. So I started small. I started getting stickers and postcards printed with my illustrations. And then every time I sold out of a product, I put the money back into more products. So then I moved on to patches. And finally, I launched my first enamel pin in December 2015. And it's really bad because, again, this comes up a lot when you run a small business. You don't really know when to switch off. So when this pin was launching, it was if you can see on this picture here, it was the Fresh Boy Tears pin. I was already booked to go away to Coventry to visit my family at Christmas, and the delivery was going to clash. And I'm not proud that I did this, but I had the delivery moved to my uncle's house in Coventry, and I took all my packaging with me. And so I'd go out in the day, and I'd see my family, and I'd catch up, and I'd go shopping and things, and then I'd go home, back to the hotel, and I'd pack orders and then post them the next day. So yeah, it's difficult knowing when to switch off when you run a small business. So this is what my shop looks like at the minute. As I said, I did use Etsy, but things really started to take off after I launched the pins. And by around April 2016, the monthly fees I was paying to Etsy were just, it was sort of, I know that you take that into account when you set up an Etsy shop and you sell online, but I was starting to get a bit bitter over it because obviously I was getting more sales, and the more you sell, the more you have to pay to Etsy. So I made the decision to switch to Shopify. I think this was the best decision I ever made. Etsy is really, really good when you're just starting out, I think. It helps you sort of build that community and audience, and it's good because people trust Etsy, so they're more likely to buy if you have an Etsy shop because it's a platform people trust. But at the same time, they move the goalposts a lot, and they keep changing the rules, and they keep, I suppose, making it trickier for very small businesses to make a decent living. I just got a bit fed up. So it's still good, and I still buy a lot from Etsy. Like I use it as a customer quite a lot, but I knew it wasn't for me. So I switched to Shopify, and I like Shopify because it's a flat rate every month, regardless of how little or how much you sell. So even if you, like, I think I pay the $29 a month, even if you're bringing in like thousands and thousands of sales a month, you will only pay that $29, which is really nice. And that's it. There's no other hidden fees or anything. So that's good. So pins are how I pretty much made my name, I suppose, and how I really got things going. And as I said, every time I sell out of a product, I either restock it or I put the money into other products. And these are some of the other things I sell in my shop, like earrings, washi tape, screen printed items, stationery has become really popular. Stickers are always, I think, a really good place to start if you have any kind of creative business. Stickers are great because they're not very expensive to get made. You don't have to sell them for a huge amount to make back what you spent and a small profit. And best of all, because they're light and flat, they're very easy to send internationally. So I know that Rebecca invited me along to sort of talk about how I sent my products all over the world, and I will come back to that further on. And yeah, it's I suppose if you're a ceramicist, that's going to be tricky. How do you send your mugs across the world, ensuring that they're safe? Whereas I think with things like this, or textile goods, or just sort of small items or flat items, the sky's the limit, really. If people will buy from you, you can work out a way of sending it. So let's have a look. These are some of my customers over the years, because obviously running an online business, you don't really get to meet your customers as often. I mean, I do craft fairs, but they're maybe like a couple of times a year. So for me, the only way I get to see my customers is when they share pictures online. So I think Kirsty was talking about this as well. When I send out a parcel, everyone gets a little card with like all my hashtags on and my social media handles. And they also get a little discount off their next order. So, to encourage them to come back. And these cards don't cost a lot to get printed. And I cheat as well. I get like a regular business card, but I have the design printed twice, and then I just cut them up, because it takes me about, 15 minutes to cut up like a whole box of cards. So it's worth, I can do that while I'm waiting for my coffee to cool down or something. So yeah, as an online business, connecting with your customers is the main thing, because again, and Kirsty was just talking about this as well with that Vax screenshot. People forget with they order from Amazon, or they order from, some big company. They forget that there's a real person at the other end packing the parcel. So for a small business, I think it's really important to remind people that there is a person behind the business. And that, especially if you're like a sole trader like I am, I don't have any employees, I don't have an assistant, anything like that. It's me, like that's it. So I'll get emails sometimes saying, to your management team or to such and such, your social media manager. And I'm like, yes, that's me, hello. I do all of the jobs. Because you sort of have to. I mean, I've talked about expanding the business, but for now, I think I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So it's easier when I'm the one in charge, because then if I mess up, it's my own fault and I don't have to shout at anyone. So this is a map of all the places I've sent my products to over the years. I've been keeping this probably since 2015, when I really sort of started being serious with the shop. And yeah, so it's been fun over the years. And actually, I hadn't updated the map for a while. And when I was updating it this weekend for this, I was surprised because there were, I think there was only like one country in South America that I'd coloured in. And now, as you can see, there's quite a lot. And I was sort of going through my shop and typing in countries and like, oh yeah, I have sent that. Okay, mark it on the map. But this is nice for me as well to keep track and to remind myself that, you know, there are people all over the world with my designs or with buying my products and sharing my products and things like that. And that's cool because I am Manx and I've lived here all my life, and I actually never left. I did all of my schooling and my degree here, but I'm not super well known on the Isle of Man. I still find a lot of people haven't heard of my business, or if they do see me at a fair, they ask, oh, when did you move over? Which is fine, you know. It's just, I suppose it's amusing to me because I have been online, really like this really online presence the whole time. And I talk very openly about my nationality and how proud I am of the Isle of Man. And I remind everyone constantly, like, I'm not, you know, I'm from the Isle of Man and this is how it is and this is where it is and all of this. So it is funny when people are like, oh, when did you move here? And then I know that there's like a Girl Scout troop in America or with my pins on, or people walking around Sydney with my t-shirts on and stuff like that. But it's good. It's what have we got next? Okay, so the poor Isle of Man post office staff. One of the most important aspects of running any small business, if you're shipping products, like physical products, is of course the postage. And if you are sending out physical products, I encourage you to cultivate a good relationship with the staff at your local post office branch, because I'd be lost without them, really. I'm fortunate that the staff at my local branch over the years, I think just through curiosity of what is this, why are you here with another bag of boxes, they've been really helpful. So they keep me well stocked with labels, airmail stickers, safe to fly, all the things I need. They're also good as well. They tell me when there's going to be a new stamp release, in case I want to get the designs, or they tell me if there's going to be price changes, all these sorts of things. It's just little things, but it can be so helpful. And as you can see, when I'm showing up sometimes with towers of boxes, by the way, these, I would love to say that this is like a standard week for me. Each of these were after, I think the big one was Black Friday. One of them was my birthday sale. I think another one was like an online sort of group I joined and we ordered a sale. Anyway, yeah, we'll just pretend that that's a standard week. So yeah, every single box requires, you know, safe to fly labels, airmail stickers. And of course, it was the same before Brexit, but now it's just worse. Every single parcel that's going outside of the UK has to have a CN22 customs label on it. And they are a massive pain to fill out. There's no other way about it. And yeah, it's been a big learning curve this year because sort of I've been doing this for years now and I know what I need and I know what I need to fill out. And then all of a sudden the rules have changed again. It now needs something completely different. You have to fill it out differently. And if I can fill those out at home and take my parcels in and just buy stamps, it's a huge time saver for me and for the staff, because multiple times I've gone to the post office with a big bag of stuff and the staff are fine, they're used to it, but I'll get horrible death stares from other people in the queue until they realise actually it's not going to take me that long because everything's already labelled and I know that I need like 20 US stamps, 20 EU stamps, things like that. So the more you can save time, yeah, the better. And the post office staff are fantastic. And I try and take in like a tub of sweets at Christmas, because if they can still stand there and smile when I come dragging like 150 orders in, they absolutely deserve some sweets. So, as I said, the majority of my customers are actually international. It's only in kind of the last 2 years that I've started getting more Manx customers and Manx clients as well, because I mean, I run my own business, but I do design things for other people as well, and I do some graphic design and things like that. And so these are some pins I've done for some local companies, and one of them was for an international collaborative charity project as well last year. But this has been lovely for me because, as I said, I'm not super well known on the island, despite, you know, loving it and living here forever. And I think this sort of came off the back of a few things. This was all sort of 2019. It just started to take off with local companies. So I was one of the Jeff the Mongoose 30 under 30 finalists. So that was really good. That sort of put my name out there a bit. And then later that year, I painted one of the wallabies for the hospice trail. I did the TT one up at the grandstand. And this was a big turning point because all of a sudden I was getting like local businesses getting in touch for logos and flyers and all these different things. And the creamery actually got in touch. Again, I'm terrible. It was the second day of my holiday, my summer holiday. I was in Cork in Ireland, and I get this email, oh, we want you to do a cheese pin for the creamery. And so I explained I was on holiday, but then I was already like thinking of ideas. So I think I was in Ireland about a week, and by the day I left Dublin to come home, I'd already done the design, and it was already like we'd got the prices and it was pretty much ready to go. So I have no concept of time off or holidays. But that was really fun. And then from the back of the creamery one, I got the gelatori job as well in Ramsey, because I was there for a different meeting and the person collecting the pins came to get them and they were dropping off milk for the gelatori. And so the owner was like, what's this? Well, let me see. And then he decided that he wanted 3 pins as well. So that was a very good day. And it is fun. I mean, obviously I'll design other things for people. I've recently done some stickers for Peggy's. I've recently done some t-shirts for the gelatori. But pins are my favourite product to design, and they're really fun, I think, because they're so sort of tactile. So I do a lot of that. And this ties in well with what Kirsty and Rhiannon have already said a bit. So how do I have international customers, and how do people know to find my Shopify and all of these different things? I mostly owe it to Instagram. I have all the major social network accounts, but for some reason, even though I've had Facebook and Twitter longer and I use them regularly, Instagram was the one that worked best for me. I think because I am an artist and because I do have quite a strong visual element to my business, that was why that one just kind of worked for me. So my engagement varies. Just because the follower count is quite high doesn't mean I always get super amazing engagement, unfortunately. I find that posts on my feed are a little bit hit and miss, and even though I try to predict, I can't always predict what is going to do well. Sometimes it's something I've spent half an hour on, you know, and I think, oh yeah, I really like this, people are going to like it, and then it bombs. And then other times I'll be on a bus and I think, oh, I haven't posted quick, and I'll just post something random and it gets like 600, 700 likes. It can be very frustrating when you sort of, you know, you never know. Some days it's like 1,000 likes and then the next day it's scraping for 100. And I found the best is to not take it too much to heart, because the algorithm is constantly shifting and changing. And I've sort of given up trying to beat it or trying to figure it out. So I try to just post what I like. My stories, funnily enough, on Instagram get much better engagement. I post a lot of stories every day. Stuff that I'm up to, personal stuff, and also I post a lot of memes. Like I share a lot of memes about ADHD and autism and anxiety and things like that. And people message me and they say they come back every day to see what stupid memes I've found or what tweets I've shared from Twitter. So yeah, it doesn't always have to just be about your business. And this comes back to making it sort of the importance of reminding your customers and your audience that you are a real person. I know a lot of people, they have separate accounts for their business and their personal sort of Instagram, and that's fine. If you want to keep your personal life separate, that's totally your business. But for me, I'm one of these oversharers, so I don't really have that distinction between the two. I do actually have a separate page for the Candy Dog Club, but I've never really used it because this one already has a following, and people do come. They know, like, some people follow me for fashion, some people follow me for art, some for the prints and products, and they know that every day you could get something else. I mean, I got into miniatures really big last year, so that shows up a lot now. And I know as well that other than stories, video is like the best way forward now for Instagram. So I only got access to Reels in March, which was frustrating. But I've been really trying sort of make a conscious effort to post little Reels, and it's doing pretty well so far. I've been pleasantly surprised. The views I'm getting, even when it's not, like, out of all those 4, none of them have anything to do with my business. None of them are selling anything. So I think that's why they do well. So that's been fun as well. But I am being a content creator is very time consuming. So I do cheat sometimes, and I'll post a video on TikTok and then just reshare the same video on my Reels. But I think a lot of people do that. And I get better views on my Reels than I do on TikTok. So, you know, every little helps. Where am I up to? I haven't been paying attention to my notes at all. Oh, we're up to here. Okay. Yeah, TikTok as well. Oh God, I'm trying so hard. I have friends who have posted one video of their pins and suddenly they've got 3,000 followers and they've sold out of everything. And I keep trying, and I'll keep sticking with it. You never know. I'll probably just take that one post to just click, hopefully. Anyway. Right, where are we up to? Oh, so obviously when you have a lot of social media accounts, it's tricky directing people to all of them. I have all the links on the bottom of my shop itself, but for Instagram I use Linktree, and I know that it's kind of like that as to whether or not it is good to use Linktree on Instagram, or to just have one link, or to even make your own sort of link landing page, which I just haven't had time to do. I think Linktree's, it's easy enough to use, and I think enough people use it that people know what it is when they click it. And it's easy for me to just direct people, you know, more quickly. And I think you can change the links when you want as well. So recently I entered a design contest that the public could vote in. So I put that as like the second link on my Linktree, just to direct people, you know, please vote, here's the link. So yeah, I use all of them, but the 2 I use the most are Instagram and Pinterest. So this was sort of a last minute addition. I messaged Rebecca on Saturday to say, should I talk about Pinterest? You know, because we're hearing about Facebook and we're hearing about Instagram, but Pinterest is actually, I think, it's sometimes valued as a platform for selling. I actually found out last night that I didn't know because I hadn't checked, but Shopify have now integrated with Pinterest to allow you to use it as a selling platform. So you can already share your products on there and share pins that automatically link back to your shop. But this is actually looking at like selling through Pinterest. So I know nothing about this because I literally set it up last night. But this could be really interesting, and this could be another sort of game changer as a selling platform. So Pinterest is one of my main sources of traffic. And it's funny because unlike the others, I have never really, until recently, used it to try and sell products. I set it up when I was at college as a digital logbook to just keep track of inspiration and research when I was doing my degree. And yeah, over the years, sort of quietly, without me spending too much time on it, it's gained quite a decent following. And the views I get are kind of, well, mad. Yeah, I mostly use it to share. I'm like a big fashion nerd and art and architecture and things like that. So I use it to share a lot of that. And other people obviously like that. And I'll create pins as well. I don't just repin other people's. So I actually sort of, like when it's I don't know, Fashion Week or something like that, I'll get, you know, things and add them myself. And and then over the past sort of couple of years when I realised the views were getting really high. I think I'd gone on to check something and the monthly impressions were like 1.2 million. And I just sort of sat there like, how? Why? How? So at the minute, this was a screen cap I took last night. So yeah, the average monthly views at the minute are 639,000, which is completely mad. And Pinterest analytics are really good because they can show you like this, your top pins. So I know that this is pretty much all the same. This is my most popular design. And unfortunately, it's also my most stolen design. Probably because I put it on Pinterest and people don't realize that if something's on Pinterest, it belongs to someone else. They think they can just use it for free. So they can't, but it is interesting to see because I probably posted these years ago without really, thinking like just something to do. Oh yeah, I'll post that. And now it's driving so much traffic to my website. And I think even if people go looking to buy these products, hopefully they stick around. There's plenty of other products on there to tempt them. And I'm trying to think where I was up to. Oh yeah, an interesting thing about Pinterest. So if you are a creative business, or if your business has a strong visual element, whether it's selling products or you run like a business like with I think someone said holiday cottages, so like scenery and decor and things like that. Pinterest is great for things like this, but the trick is to not just flood the feed with your own like products or content, if that makes sense. So you have to be subtle about it. I've learned, because I have tried. I've got a board that's just dedicated to stuff I sell, and it doesn't really have as many followers as some of my other boards. So the trick is to sort of make a board a theme. So I don't know, it could be the Isle of Man, or it could be interior design, or it could be Christmas or libraries, or anything you want, if your product will fit into it somewhere. And then you build that board using, well, basically the content that's already available on Pinterest. And then I don't want to say shoehorn, but you slip your content in as well amongst it. And that's how I built a following anyway, because I would post like the candy pot board. I can't click on it, but that's my biggest and that's my most popular. Actually, that board has more followers than I have followers on Pinterest. People just follow that board. And yeah, it's filled with fashion and street art and all sorts of things. And it's got a lot of my products sort of sprinkled throughout. It's not like you're tricking people into seeing your stuff, but yeah, people are there for the fashion or for the colourful hair. Oh, but look, that's a really nice sticker sheet. What's that? I'll click on it. Or what's that pin? Or what? So I suppose you've got to be clever about it. And I know some people use Pinterest and they pretty much just put their own stuff on there, and that's fine. And if you're a good photographer or you're good at sort of product photography, then that'll still work. But you need to pin other content as well and use the pins that are already on there. I mean, it's good to create your own because then you can see the analytics, but there's loads on there already that you can also share. So I think that might be where I'm up to. Yeah, that was my last one. And I barely looked at my notes, and I haven't checked the chat at all the whole time I've been doing this. So thank you. And if there's anything I've said or you've seen and you want to know more about, like I know I didn't really talk much about Shopify or anything like that, but I'm happy to answer questions. So shall I stop screen sharing?
Thank you so much, Jade. That was awesome. I absolutely love seeing your products and everything that you've done. Absolutely amazing. So as you'll see, I've brought Kirsty and Rhiannon as well. So just I know it's a little bit difficult to do Q&A when you guys as attendees can't actually speak, but please do pop any questions you might have in the chat or the Q&A box. And use this time wisely, I would say. But I found that so interesting, and I hope that you all got a lot out of it. I was interested, actually, like you say, Jade, bringing in the Pinterest aspect as well. I don't think people always think about Pinterest for e-commerce, do they?
I mean, I definitely didn't, but like I said last night, because I was sort of, I'd already done the slides for the Pinterest, but the views have actually, it had jumped up about 10,000, so I thought, oh, I may as well update it. So I was re-screen capping them and sort of putting them in last night. And this, yeah, I was on Shopify and it came up, 56% of your referrals in the past 30 days have been from Pinterest. And I was like, oh, that's good to know. And then underneath it said, add Pinterest as a shopping channel. I thought, oh. So this was at about 11 o'clock last night, so I'm going to look into it properly today. But yeah, I think it's my page is under review at the minute, but I've already got products on there anyway, so hopefully it'll connect. But yeah, that'll be a whole other one to add to the list.
Yeah, I know. It's like you have to have about 1,000 different platforms these days, don't you? But you have to. That's the way the world is these days. Jade, somebody's asked a bit more. If you could talk a little bit more about Shopify.
Yeah, sure. So Shopify it's a good platform for building shops. You've probably unknowingly bought things on Shopify shops a lot, because I'm constantly amazed at some of the big brands, like big companies, and I'll be checking out and I'm like, oh, I know this checkout page. It's Shopify. I think there's this sort of common misconception that you need to have a website built from scratch or a shop built from scratch. And if you can do that, great, but you don't have to. And a lot of big brands don't. They just use Shopify. So yeah, it was actually really, because I'm not very good at coding. Like I'm really basic coding skills. And that's why Shopify is good, because it's pretty click and, drop, and it's pretty easy to use. And there's a lot of stuff out there as well to help you use it. And I think Kirsty said this about how it like integrates really well with Instagram and Facebook shopping and things like that. And it's just pretty seamless, I suppose. I've when I was switching from Etsy, I did look into others, and I think it was Shop Envy. I'd sort of started setting up. I had another friend that used it, and it was okay. And then I'd also looked at Big Cartel and Folksy. Is that? Yeah, I think is that the one I'm thinking of? There are a lot anyway, because everyone's kind of different for different sort of styles of products. But yeah, I tried Shopify. I suppose I was only intending to try it, and now it's been 5 years, and I'm still using it. Is there anything specific you want to know about it? Because I'm just sort of waffling. I think if you already have an Etsy shop or you already have an online sort of brand, Shopify is good to switch to. But I'm not sure if I would have started on there, because unlike Etsy, it doesn't have a built-in review feature, so people can't leave you reviews and customer feedback. And it's not really, I suppose, although Shopify all works the same across all the different people's sites, each site is still separate, so you don't have like a community like you do on Etsy. So yeah, I don't know. It works really well for me, but as I said, I'd been using Etsy for years when I joined Shopify, only because people always tell me how great Etsy is and how it has all these brilliant benefits and it does wonders for promoting small businesses. And I'd been on there years and I hadn't seen any of that. And then even when I did start getting a big increase in sales, all it did, like I said, was make me kind of bitter, because I thought, what am I paying hundreds of dollars a month fees to Etsy? For what? What am I getting in return? So that was why I switched.
Thanks, Jade. No, that's really interesting. Also, I mean, but and somebody else has said like just the basics to get started on Shopify. But I don't know if Rianne or Kirsty can give a bit more on that. But I'm assuming it sounds like it's fairly easy. I say. But yeah, do you guys have any more to add on Shopify?
I don't get involved in that side. I just sort of make sure that it's all hooked up to Facebook. So I don't get involved. But although, talking about reviews, you can add a plugin. There's always plugins. So I think there's a free plugin to add reviews on. So I just looked here. It's called product reviews. So you add the app onto your Shopify, and I think that's the powerful thing with it. It just integrates with so many different things. It's just brilliant. But yeah, maybe Rianne knows more.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I would always say to everyone is like, go for like what we would call like your minimum viable product in order to get started. So for like Etsy, there are no upfront fees. So if you're like just want to test the market, you want to see what people like, what people don't, and like just as Jade said, like when you start gaining some traction and you're getting good sales, then maybe switch over. But like with Shopify, it's so easy. It like so I would probably be in contrast with graphic designers and everything here. So when I say minimum viable product, I mean like what's the minimum you need to spend in order to get your shop up online? Like what's the minimum graphics you need? I would never recommend people who are just starting go for like huge brand packages and pay thousands for a website, because ultimately you don't know how the end consumer is going to receive that information. You don't know if they're going to actually want to buy your product. So I would always like test the water, go for a Shopify over a really expensive website just to see how people react to it. Because ultimately, like until you get in front of your customers, you don't know what people like or what they don't like, and like that's just proved by Jade's experience.
Yeah, thank you, Rianne. Annette has said, clearly Jade spends a lot of time on promoting her business on social media platforms. How much time is reasonable? And like Jade's alluded to a few times, it's very hard to switch off, isn't it? Especially when you're carrying it around on your phone. So sort of, yeah, what would you say is a reasonable amount of time?
It varies for everyone. And I want to point out as well, the reason I'm online so much and the reason I do this so much is because I don't have any children or pets or anything like that. So I don't have these sort of other responsibilities that obviously can take, precedent in people's lives. So that's why I have all this time to to dedicate to sitting on my phone and either trying to create content or I suppose sharing other people's, liking things, engaging, that sort of thing. I don't know I suppose you have to be able to set your own boundaries. And I do try to do that. But as we've established, when I go on holiday, if someone messages me, I'm probably likely to just say, yeah, okay, I'll work on it in the evenings. So you know yourself best and you know what you're capable of. And I think everyone, you know your own limitations. So if you're doing this, but you're feeling like you're dreading it or you're feeling burnt out, it's time to take a step back. And I do that as well. There's every sort of couple of weeks, I have a day where I cannot be bothered, and I sit guilty knowing that my engagement is going to tank, but I just take a day off because sometimes that's what you have to do, because you're not a machine and you do have your own life as well. And yeah, there'll be plenty of times where I'm out or I'm at usually council meetings and it's been 5 hours and I think, oh, I haven't posted anything. And then sometimes I can't be bothered. So I think, right, well, I'll try harder tomorrow or, So yeah, everyone's different, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Jade, and really good advice there. It's very hard to strike that balance, but like you say, it's okay to take a day off. It's not going to, it's not going to be the end of the world, and people need to understand that. Lindsay Elliott, who runs some holiday cottages here, so she's definitely going to try and set up a catalogue with a room for photographs. And see how that works. I think that would be a really, really good idea. Somebody else has also said, is it worth using Shopify if you already have a shop on your website? I don't know who wants to answer that. Rianne, shaking her head.
No, I wouldn't. If you've already gone to the effort of creating your own website, unless your website has been made by someone who didn't really know what they were doing and the integration isn't that good, I would just stick with what you've already got. There's no point using another software to do the same job, but it would completely depend on kind of how it was made, but there's no point both of them, I think. I don't know if Kirsty has anything to add.
Yeah, you just have one or the other. So like if your website's set up and as Rianne just said, if it's all converting and it's selling and it all works, then you wouldn't go to Shopify. But if actually you've kind of set it up and it's not really working and it's a bit of a clunky journey and people are dropping off and it's not easy for people to buy and it's not very smooth, then I would definitely consider having a look at Shopify as an alternative, because it's a very simple, as Jade said, it's plug and play. You just drag and drop, set it up, and it looks really swish, really easily, and seamless journey. You know, it just all works, and you can easily track stuff, and it's the integrations. I mean, I feel like I should be on their sales team. Can I just go back to the other question? I hope you don't mind, about how much time you should spend on social media. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's, I think what you need to understand is that the algorithm loves consistency. So as Jade says, you kind of got to look at the time that you've got in the week, and you've got to say, right, how much time have I got this week to dedicate to social media? If it's only like 2 hours, then you've got to be realistic. So you can't post every day if you've only got 2 hours. So just think, right, I'm going to schedule 3 posts Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if I can engage around the time that I'm posting, great. And if I forget, it doesn't matter, because something will go out anyway. Then you just like maybe make one day, if you're very time limited, where you go around and you do a bit of engagement. But it's consistency that's key, and it is so bad for you. You do get sucked into it. So you've just got to, you know, do exactly what's right for you. But scheduling does take that away, and it's you can just do it all on a Monday morning, then it's done. And don't feel you've always got to be posting your products. And going back to what you're saying about Pinterest, it's really interesting, because that's exactly how I would say your social media strategy works. It's not about just selling your products all the time. It's about creating a brilliant feed in your Facebook, in your LinkedIn, in your Instagram, that is not just sell. It's just like lovely stuff that people engage with, because it's your vibe, or what you love, or what you've brought to the party. And it's not necessarily your products, it's just associated, and it attracts those same people. So it, you know, that makes it easier, doesn't it? So you don't always have to think of things to say. You're just like, you're serving a tribe, you're serving a community that are like-minded. So yeah, but consistency is the key thing, really. So even if you can just do it once a week, then that's you being consistent, isn't it? So hopefully that helps as well.
Thank you, Kirsty. Yeah, it really does help. Another question's come in, not sure who would answer this, so just pop your hand up. How do you manage copyright issues with using platforms for your products?
I don't understand that question.
No, neither do
I. I assume this one's aimed at me, so I'll probably try and answer it. Where is it? From using product. So it's I suppose it's tricky, because this comes up more for me on Etsy than it does for Shopify. Most platforms, when it's someone at like these, you know, platforms that you build your shop on, have a built-in facility for is it DCMA takedown requests for copyright infringement, and yeah, they're a massive pain to deal with. So I suppose my answer is, and I say a massive pain to deal with as in I have to do them to other people, because as I said, my designs have been stolen, and they're sold cheap on sites like Wish and AliExpress and places like that. And so if you ever see that, I'm going to swear, I'm sorry, but if you ever see my bullshit remover design anywhere and it's not me that's selling it, it's probably a fake. And yeah, I have to, once a week, usually on a Monday, I have to go on Etsy and track down all of the people selling the fakes and send them a takedown request. And it's really time consuming, and it's a real pain to have to deal with. And Shopify is the same. But they do have it there. But I suppose it depends on what you're asking. Are you asking about taking other people's things down, or are you asking about selling things that you know might infringe copyright? Because that's a whole different ball game. And I suppose all I can say is that you can try to do it, but you do have to be prepared to receive a takedown. I suppose it's not a given, it's not a guarantee. I know people that have been selling like Disney stuff and Harry Potter for years, and they've gotten away with it. But yeah, you never know. You've got to be willing to accept that, I suppose, if that's kind of what you meant.
Yeah, thank you, Jade. That's really useful. Yeah, it's a minefield, or the whole copyright thing. Catherine was saying I was asking about having your own copyright infringed. Right, okay. So yeah, that's good. Good to hear that, Catherine, that you're not planning on stealing anyone else's ideas. But yeah, I know it's a massive problem. So just, is there anything else either of you three want to quickly cover before we think about closing? Don't seem to have any more questions.
I think there's just one thing I'd like to add on to what Jade and Kirsty have already said about like how much time to spend on social media. And I would generally say, like, if you feel like you are dreading it and you feel like you're just like pushing water uphill and getting nowhere, I'd step back and I'd reassess. So I'd be like, okay, so where do you feel the most confident? Like, how do you communicate as a person? Do you communicate visually? Like, is your creativity through pictures? Is your creativity through words? Are you really good at speaking to people? And I'd find like, what's the best way that you get your message across? And rather than trying to do what everyone else is doing, tailor your content. So maybe you only do visual, or you only do video, or you're really good at writing long form feed posts. Like, don't try and fit the algorithm. The algorithm will kind of fit you to a sense. Like, you'll get the people that interact with you. Like, obviously there's things you can do to add it, but I see a lot of people that like, they're just trying to do things because they've seen other people do it and it be successful. And at the end of the day, everything works. You just have to find out what works for you. And I don't know if that's helpful, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Rhiannon. You know, you're absolutely right. You do need to do what works for you. When you're running your own business, you need to enjoy it as well, don't you? So that was absolutely brilliant. I just want to take the time to thank all three of you because you all run your own businesses and you're all super busy. And we really, really appreciate it. And from a Chamber of Commerce perspective and Business Isle of Man, we, you know, think it's very important that these sorts of workshops are delivered by small local businesses because you're the guys who do it, and you're the guys that understand and can offer that real life experience and knowledge. So assuming you three are okay with this, I will share your slides with everybody that attended today. The session has been recorded, so I will send that over as well once I've had a little edit. And if anybody has any other questions or anything they would like me to filter through to any of the panelists, I'm sure they wouldn't mind that. So I will forward that through to you. And we've got lots of people saying thank you very much. So thank you, ladies, and have a lovely rest of the week, everybody. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Bye.